The scene opens deep in the ocean at a research base called the Kepler. We meet a young engineer named Nora as she notices some water starting to leak from the ceiling. Before she can realize what's happening, the walls behind her suddenly collapse, flooding the hallway with water. Nora runs frantically down the hall as the walls cave in around her, running into her friend Rodrigo on the way. The two manage to make it into another section of the base and seal the bulkhead doors behind them, saving the rest of the facility from destruction. As they try to collect themselves and call for help, they suddenly hear strange, animal-like sounds coming from outside the walls. With the communication system appearing to be down, they decide to head for the escape pods in another section of the building. As they make their way through the ruined facility, Nora hears somebody faintly calling for help nearby. They follow the sound of the voice and eventually find another one of their crewmates, Paul, trapped under some concrete. They manage to pull him out of the rubble, and the three continue on their way to the escape pods. They soon arrive at their destination and unfortunately find that all the escape pods are gone, with their captain, Lucian, sitting in the room by himself. They get the captain's attention, and he tells them that he sent up everyone that he could, but then got trapped in the room. Nora manages to get the door open, and Lucian tells them that they need to get to the control room where there are two other survivors waiting. Nora gets to the control room first and hugs Emily and Liam, with Lucian arriving shortly after. Lucian has Nora check the status of the reactor that is powering the base, and she tells him that the cooling towers are down and the core is becoming unstable. The Kepler then violently shakes again, with more of the strange noises coming from outside. Nora tells them that they likely only have about 30 minutes before the core melts down, which will blow the entire base into pieces. With no options left, the captain tells them that they need to get over to the Roebuck, their other base, about 2 miles away. When Nora asks him how that's going to be possible, he tells her they are going to have to walk across the ocean floor to get there. The crew is horrified by the idea, but the captain proceeds to lay out the plan anyway. He says they will take the cargo elevator down to the sea floor, then follow an access tunnel to the midpoint station, and then finally get out and walk the rest of the way to the Roebuck. While they continue to talk things over, Liam manages to find the last transmission that came from the collapsed section of the Kepler, and he plays it over the speakers for them. Unfortunately, all they're able to hear is a bunch of yelling and screaming, followed by a loud bellowing roar before the recording cuts off. The Kepler then shakes again, and Liam points out that the water on the seafloor has also suddenly risen by about 10 degrees, which shouldn't be possible. They decide to follow the captain's plan and head over to where the pressurized diving suits are stored. The group then proceeds to suit up, with Rodrigo finding working helmets for everyone to wear. They then get into the lift, with Emily freaking out since she's never been in a diving suit before. Liam manages to calm her down, and the group put on their helmets and start their descent. As they ride the lift down into the water, Rodrigo suddenly hears the sound of his helmet starting to crack, with his whole suit imploding just a few seconds later. After getting thrown out of the lift, Nora eventually makes her way over to the cargo elevator, jumping down to join her friends further below. As they start to take the elevator down to the sea floor, they suddenly hear a distress beacon start to beep over the radio. They see that it's coming from a place on the rig right below them, apparently from a failed escape pod. They decide to stop the elevator and check it out, with Paul and Liam going outside to look for survivors. As they search through the murky water, they eventually find the failed pod, with the outside of it seeming to be covered in some kind of slime. Paul then sees what looks like a person tangled up in some cables, and as he looks closer, he suddenly gets attacked by something jumping out of the body. We then see Liam fire his weapon, followed by some kind of alien creature being thrown down on a table back inside the elevator. Emily, the biologist, confirms that it is unlike any other species known to man, and she thinks they might have drilled into some kind of new ecosystem just below the seafloor. As they continue their descent in the elevator, they suddenly lose power, with loud banging noises being heard all around them. As they look out the window at the top of the lift, they see the Kepler station start to explode above them, with some kind of creature seeming to dart away as it does. The elevator then starts to freefall, with the group barely managing to jump out of it before it hits the bottom. They then find themselves needing to run across the sea floor to the next building, with the ruins of the Kepler station falling down around them. As they get close, Liam gets hit by some of the falling debris, with Lucian and Nora helping to drag him inside. Once they get in, they take Liam's helmet off, seeing that his oxygen scrubber was damaged from the hit. They continue to hear strange sounds and banging coming from outside, with Paul wondering if the creature that they shot was only a baby. Lucian then gets the trolley running, and they all load up onto it for a ride down the access tunnel. Eventually, the tunnel gets too flooded for the trolley to continue, and the group are forced to go through a narrow underwater passage one by one. Paul is the last one to go through the passage, and as the group pulls him up on the other side, he is suddenly grabbed by his legs and pulled back underwater. As the group struggles to save him, Paul's body gets ripped out of the suit by his legs, with his helmet filling up with blood. The rest of the group then runs away in terror, eventually finding their way to the Midway station. While Lucian tries to call for help again from their new location, Liam looks out at their giant ocean drill, wondering what could have destroyed something that weighs 6,000 tons. With no luck on the radio, they decide to head out on the final leg of their journey, the walk across the sea floor to the Roebuck station. Before they leave, they take a look at Liam's oxygen scrubber and see that it's in bad shape. Without a clean scrubber, he will be breathing in dangerous fumes, and it's only a matter of time until he passes out. The crew refuses to leave him behind, however, agreeing to carry him the rest of the way if he can't make it. The group then heads out into the darkness, walking amongst the rubble of their destroyed research base. While they walk, they suddenly get attacked by some large creatures, with Lucian being dragged away by one of them. Nora goes after him and finds him hanging onto the side of a large platform, and she attaches her suit to his. Before she can pull him up, though, she gets attacked by another one of the creatures, as it tries to swallow her whole. Lucian then jumps on top of the beast, stabbing it repeatedly with his knife. The creature then grabs Lucian and starts pulling him rapidly toward the surface, dragging Nora along with him. As their suits start to buckle due to the rapid pressure change, Lucian cuts the cable connecting the two of them, sending Nora back down to the ocean floor as Lucian's suit implodes above her. After a moment of uncertainty, Nora regains consciousness back on the ocean floor, with the oxygen alarm going off in her suit. Fortunately, she landed near the Old Shepherd station, and she manages to make it inside just as her suit runs out of air. She tries using the radio inside the station, hoping to hear from Emily or Liam, but doesn't get a response from anyone. After finding an old diving suit and a flare gun, she starts to plot her new course over to the Roebuck station. As Nora ventures out into the darkness once again, she continues to talk through the radio in her suit, hoping to eventually get a response. After walking a little ways, she starts to hear Emily talking to Liam over the radio, eventually seeing the two of them out in front of her, with Emily dragging Liam behind her. Nora soon catches up to them, and she helps Emily with Liam as they cross the final marker on the way to the Roebuck. They eventually make it to the station, with the oxygen in Emily's suit starting to get low. As they finally reach the entrance, they are greeted by a large number of the alien creatures, floating in the water between them and the door. Fortunately, the creatures appear to be sleeping, so Nora and Emily decide to try to sneak their way past them. As they make their way through the pack of sleeping monsters, Emily's oxygen alarm starts to go off, which causes some of the monsters to start moving. Nora tells Emily to run inside with Liam, as one of the creatures starts touching her helmet. As Emily runs inside, the creature suddenly attacks Nora, opening up its mouth and trying to swallow her whole. As the creature continues to try to consume her, Nora pulls out her flare gun and shoots it from the inside, causing the back of its body to explode. Nora then crawls out of the hole she made in the creature and looks up to see all the rest of them now starting to move. She sees the roof then start to lift up above her, and she realizes that she was looking at the arm of a much larger creature. She then reloads her flare gun and fires it into the distance, and we see a massive creature briefly being lit from the glow of the flare. The creature then starts to come after her, which seems to lead to another large explosion. With Nora unconscious, Emily goes back out to save her, dragging her inside and draining the airlock. Fortunately, Liam also survived the journey, with the three of them making their way to the Roebuck escape pods. When they get to the pod bay, Nora sees that only 2 of the pods are working, so she puts Liam in one and Emily in the other, telling Emily that she can fix the last one. She sends the pods away and then gets up to go look at the giant creature standing outside the window. After a moment, Nora realizes that the big creature is sending the smaller ones to attack the 2 escape pods, so she decides to try to help her friends. She heads to the computer and puts the core of the Roebuck into overload, hoping to destroy all of the creatures and allow her friends to escape. Fortunately, her plan works. And in the final scene, we see everything around the Roebuck being vaporized in the explosion, with Liam and Emily finally making it out to safety. Like and subscribe to see more videos like this one. See you next time.